Hey, it's Gleb Shkut here. How to make your first 100 cold calls for home improvement contractors as a digital marketing agency. In this video, I'll cover everything that I've been doing myself so far, which is going to include sourcing leads, doing cold calls, creating your offer, which will basically create an output of whatever your opening is going to be look like, what your script is going to look like, how can you make those dials, what app you're going to use for this, and how you can improve your script afterwards so that you can actually book appointments and overall grow your outbound system and not just rely on referrals, organic traffic, and all of this stuff. And by the way, if you want me to simplify all this for you and do this for you without you even touching pretty much anything, then feel free to book a call with me in the link in the description. I'll do all of this for you, with you, for the most part for you, but there will be also some things that I need from you as well. So let's get started. First of all, how do you find leads? How do you find potential clients? Here's two ways that you can do. And it depends exactly on your ICP. If you're working with some smaller businesses, let's say plumbers who are just starting out, they're making maybe like 10K a month, 20K a month. And if this is your ICP, then you can simply go to Google Maps. You can install an extension in your Chrome, which is called Instant Scraper, or you can check any other scraper on extensions store, basically in Google Chrome. Just search on Google for scraper, a scraper extension, something like this, and you'll find lots of extensions there which you will be able to install into your Chrome browser. And from there, when you will go to Google Maps, when you search for, let's say, plumbers or whatever your niche is, then you will have an option to basically scrape all of those leads from there, including their phone numbers, business phone numbers, their name, their website, reviews sometimes, and all of the stuff which may be relevant for you. Sometimes you can even scrape the link for their booking page so that you can see which providers they're using. So for example, for plumbers, those who are using Service Titan, those are the most high revenue leads. So if this is what you want, you can scrape specifically those and filter by Service Titan or whatever you want. Then once you've done this, you have this CSV file, and what I recommend you to do is, if you are targeting smaller plumbers, I recommend you to go to clearoutphone.com, or at least clearoutphone. I'm not sure about the extension. What is the domain? Is this .com, .io, whatever? Clearoutphone. Just search for it. It's going to be the only one, and you can put your leads there and verify their phone numbers. And what's most important there is not just verifying the phone numbers, because most of them are going to be working since you're taking them from Google Maps, from active business basically, and they're updating it if they're actually working. Obviously some of them will not be working since the businesses are closed, but for the most part it's going to be fine. So what you will see there is that you will see a type of phone number. Some of them will be mobile, some of them will be what is it called? Toll numbers, VoIP, and some of them will be landline. Yeah, this is what I forgot. Yeah, and we basically need to filter by mobile, so that if we are targeting specifically decision makers, and obviously you want to talk to decision makers, you don't want to talk to receptionists, then you need to filter just mobile numbers, and it will be just about a half of whatever you got from the initial list. Maybe even less than a half will have mobile numbers. The rest will be like landlines and all of this stuff. If this is your ICP, if you're working with small ones, then you're lucky, you can do this. But be prepared that this is what many other of your competitors are doing as well. Second option is if you're working with bigger companies and you need to find a specific person on their team, and they definitely have a receptionist in their basically business phone number, then you need to go to such tools as Apollo, ZoomInfo, or maybe even search on LinkedIn and then do the enrichment from LinkedIn and get information from there. You can also do the same with Google Maps, as I just mentioned right now, but then you will have to find their phone numbers specifically. So there are basically two variations inside of this variation. If your ICP is like from 1 million and above, and if they have a receptionist, sometimes they may be on the phone themselves. It totally depends on a specific case. So if you want to just get phone numbers right away, just go to Apollo or Apollo scrapers such as Apify, APIFI, and you can find an Apollo scraper there and just get phone numbers of decision makers or whatever the roles that you will specify right away. But many of them will be outdated, but still it works. It's a good way. You will just have to do a bit more calls so that you can get to the right people. But it's working, it's super cheap, and you can get the phone numbers right away. Second option, which is more expensive, but the quality of the phone numbers is going to be better, is, as I said, just scrape those initial informations, basically from Google Maps, from LinkedIn Sales Navigator if you want, or some other ways, maybe some directories with local businesses, for example, Californian or overall the United States registered businesses. You can scrape their information from there using exactly scrapers just like this one, or on Apify you can also find scrapers that are scraping from those directories, and then you can put it into such tool as Clay, for example, CLAY, and in there you can find their phone numbers. You can either use Clay directly, or you can go to Clay and see what tools they're using for enrichment, such as Datagma, DATAGMA, or Full Enrich. Full Enrich, this is another one. Or there's lots of different ones where you can get phone numbers from their information, such as company name, their LinkedIn profile. If you have a LinkedIn profile, it's the easiest one to get the phone number from there. I don't know how they do this, but this is how it works. Or you can just use company name plus full name of the decision maker. And sometimes it may be complicated to find the decision maker name, so ideally you could use a tool like Clay, but it's pretty expensive. So this method is overall pretty expensive, and the cost for enriching one phone number is going to be around 50 cents for each phone number. So it can get pretty expensive if you're scraping like more than 100 phone numbers. And those are the numbers that you should ideally have, because once you'll be doing cold calling, you need as much volume as possible, because the more volume you have, the more basically tests you will be able to do and see which of your scripts are working and which are not. And let's get actually to the next part. How do you actually start the cold calling? First of all, you need to have your offer. You need to say something that will resonate with your potential buyers. How exactly will you differentiate yourself from all other competitors out there who are also doing cold calling? This is what your offer will do. And your offer should basically say what exactly will be the outcomes that you will deliver them, and ideally a risk reversal that will make them feel that there is nothing for them to lose. Or you could just offer some free audit session and basically show that it's not going to be a sales call, and you potentially gonna show them something. I wanted to say sell, but no, you're gonna show them something. But initially, you first anyways need to catch their attention somehow, and you're gonna create different openers here. So there's different variations of what you can do, but the most simple one and the most also used one is like, hey, can you handle a few more plumbing jobs, pest control jobs, roofing jobs this week? And as simple as this one can work. And it also depends on the scale of the company, because if the decision maker is the owner of like the company with 100 employees, then he will not care about this phone call really. He will not care about those two more jobs. And he doesn't maybe even know how many jobs they're making, because he's just on the top. He's pretty much not involved into this part so much. So I had cases when I was asking like, how many jobs do you usually get per week? And they were like, wait for a second, I like need to go and ask some other guy. And it's crazy. And so it totally depends on the size. And from there, you need to understand who exactly you're targeting and what exactly is the problem that you're trying to solve. Is this reducing their expenses? Is this bringing a better quality of leads? Is this using maybe some specific methods where they're struggling right now, but you need to make sure that they're struggling? And this is the beauty of cold calling, because you can get instant feedback for your script. You can see what's working, what's not. So if you said like, I can bring you more jobs, and you see, okay, I've got like 100 calls, 20 of them answered the phone. And out of those 20 who were decision makers, I got like 5 positive responses. So I guess it's not too good, but this is what you should be thinking. And this is not when you're making the decision. You should also ideally have more volume. So ideally 30 plus conversation, even better, even more conversation would be better. And from there, you are able to go and try a different variation of the script. If you see that it's not working at all, like it's really bad, if it's not booking your appointments, then you can go and switch it to another one and see which one is performing better. Or you can just create a variation of this current script with something a little bit different, and also compare the numbers. And this is what you should be tracking for each of your calls. So you should track how many dials you make. So for each dial, you just can have a paper and just do a little stick, write it down. And whenever you make a call, you just write it down. And then like this, you can write, like for example, 5, then you cross them. So it's easier for you to calculate it afterwards, calculate the details. And then you put all of this into spreadsheets. So other metrics that you need is, first of all, answer rate, decision maker rate, how many of those are decision makers, not like receptionists, because you will be still meeting some decision makers, even if you are getting only decision maker phone numbers. You'll be meeting gatekeepers, sorry, I think I said it wrong. And so you need to track all of those, so that your metrics are correct. Then you're tracking how many pitches you made. Then you're checking how many of those resonated. You can also add in between those two something like triaging, how many of them you're trying to like triage and understand their problem, like ask them questions. And then you're putting how many calls you offered, how many calls were actually booked. And all of those metrics is what you are checking, and you need to ideally see the percentages, like how many of those like 100 calls, how many of those converted into like appointments booked. And you can see the percentage because it's easier to track everything in percents. And then whenever you're making, let's say 135 calls on the next day, you can also compare it by percentages, not by just the numbers, obviously. I think it's clear. And this is why you need to have some ideally formulas in your spreadsheets. And actually, if you want me to, you can come DM me on LinkedIn and I'll send you the spreadsheet, and so that you can start tracking right away. It's a pretty advanced spreadsheet and it's working amazingly for me. And I'm tracking all the information and I can see which one is performing better, and you'll be able to improve your scripts this way. And don't make those changes too quickly. Don't be too emotional, because it can be emotional. And just wait for some time, have 200 calls and more ideally. If you see that it's completely broken, maybe you can change, but also still wait for some time to have at least some conversations, because it may be the case that you're not getting any pickups for like 90 calls, but then the rest of 10 calls are going to be booked. So it's going to be like a completely different change like in your metrics. So if initially you weren't booking anything and you weren't even getting replies, then the statistics can still be like 10%, even while you got those 10% in the last of your 100 calls, right? So this is how you should do it. And yeah, you can use for cold calling Go High Level, which is a CRM. You can use just Google Sheets for tracking all the numbers, tracking all the information, writing down when you can call them back. It's a pretty simple way of doing this. And you can use any simple dialer. You can just Google for some dialers for cold calling and see which ones are going to work for you the best. It's going to be like around $20. You can use Zoom Phone. You can use some other ones. I don't remember their names. I'm using Go High Level myself. And the beauty of Go High Level is that the phone numbers are pretty cheap, but Go High Level itself is pretty expensive. It's around $90 per month, but with it you can get phone numbers, local phone numbers for $1 per month. But you are still paying in addition to that for each calls you make and for storing the recordings as well. So there are pros and cons, and you can look at your own case and decide from there. But yeah, create your offer, make sure that it applies to the solutions that you're providing, to the problems that your prospects are having, and create the opener from there. Then do your pitch, and after the pitch, do basically qualification, try to handle objections that they are giving you, and basically book them into the call right away without answering too much of their questions. I will not get too much in details here. It was more like an overview how to actually start making those calls, because once you will start, you will see how it all works. And you can also write down your objections that you are actually getting, and from there write down what is the response that you will be giving next time whenever you get the same objection. And this is exactly how you will improve and make your script better, make your objection handling better, and overall book calls. And if this is something that you want me to do for you instead, if you already have existing clients, if you already have pretty decent revenue, then you can contact me, book a call with me in the link in the description on my website, and we'll chat with you there. Or otherwise, you can just DM me on LinkedIn and we'll chat there as well. Have an amazing day. See you there.